Hello and welcome to My Halted Evolution. This is the second finance video for 2022. This will be for the second half of January, last week at this point in time. A reminder of our situation. The expected income is $26,270.52. We are a low-income household, three people, 3 dogs. Year to date, we have made $3,215. The year is in quotes because the way I do our budget, the last paycheck of the month actually goes towards the next month. So this is not the full year. This includes the very last paycheck we received in 2021. I have made some updates on our monthly budgeting. The phone, originally I had put it at $170. If you recall the last video, I said that was not an accurate number. I knew it was going to be lower because the $170 counted the activation fee for a new phone. So it's actually around $135. There's an email going out about how, and news articles and emails, about how Netflix was increasing its pricing. Well, I've already been kind of on the fence with Netflix. It's kind of in the sweet spot of pricing, I guess you could argue. We have the lowest, only one screen can watch Netflix at a time option, which puts it at $9.62 a month or $10. And it's not enough to feel like it'll make a difference if you cut it, but it's too much to just let it go by. They're increasing their amount. At our level, it would just be $1, but I went ahead and used that, so we've switched it over to Hulu. I made the switch last night, so we don't know the full amount, which the Hulu deal is $6.99 a month for their lowest level with ads. I put that at $8. We'll figure out once the full payment comes in and I bother looking at it. Preschool's still coming up later, but we did sign up for it, so we did have a $135 payment to registration fees. I don't know if you recall, we had an order of attack, so anything over the budgeted amount for the month, I've learned from Dave Ramsey to have a specific order of where you put the money. That way you don't have this extra money. It's a little less likely for you to just spend it on arbitrary things. We've already checked one thing off the list, our envelope savings fund, which means the large is left, then credit card, then phone. Then it'll be filling out the emergency fund, starting the wear and tear fund, and hopefully maybe in a year, 2 years, 5 years, putting some actual money towards retirement. Envelope has been saved up. Now the thing is, this can be used up for envelope expenses, which means just because we're full now doesn't mean we're going to stay full. It's kind of a rotating door sink fund. We've increased the large sink fund. The goal is $6,000. We currently have $5,300. That's about $400 more than what it had last time. Credit card, $7,674.49 currently. That's not the huge one, so we aren't doing our little permanent dark green yet. That's an approximation. Cell phone down to $1,200. We had put it at $1,400 being owed. We have had some oops so far this month. You could call it budget fails, but I'm trying to be a little more forgiving, and that includes the language. So no, we're not too pleased that it happened, but we're picking up and we're moving on with our life. First of all, we were expecting an ice storm, so there's some ice storm prep that we had to do. With the ice storm, it was anticipated power would be out for a couple of days. In South Carolina, we don't really get snow. We get ice, which means power outages are a possibility. So what we actually did was we purchased a few things on the assumption that power would go out. We got a 4-person pop-up tent. I saw a hack somewhere where basically power went out and the person put up their tent in the living room, covered the tent with blankets, and the post claimed they were able to maintain 80 degrees inside the tent tent when it was about 40 outside. I questioned the 40-degree temperature differential, but I did agree that it seemed like it would keep things warm. So we now have a pop tent, so if power goes out, we have that. I also bought camping supplies. There's a tripod hanging for over a fire, and a 5-quart Dutch oven that can be hung from the tripod, as well as a few starter logs and one of those little lighters that you can extend into it. We do own a small round fire pit already. We do have a tabletop grill. We have a couple of bag and a half of few years old charcoal bricks. Kingsford, if the brand makes any difference. A really old container of lighter fluid and some old logs. So we do have fire source, and just not something to more readily utilize the fire source for cooking if it came down to having no power. Now we bought masks. I use HSA cards for this, and since the youngest is going off to preschool, I've found some recommended, approved toddler-size masks that I purchased those. There was overspending, forgotten items. They should have been in the budget. They just were overlooked. And hustle supplies for a side gig. So here, ice storm prep, I already covered that. So basically we have some frozen leftover stews. I wouldn't have to cook or worry so much about cooking. We have some things that could probably have fit on top of the grill. I just don't have the ability to heat it up. So we bought the ability to heat up the frozen food, and we also stocked up on some canned meats and such, so we have none necessary. Thankfully, it wasn't needed, but we do have the supplies for if it happens again another time around. Alright, the overspending spiral. This is something that happens to me a lot. You go out of budget, feel bad about going out of budget, then the next thing that comes up, you're like, what does it matter? I'm out of budget already. And you just keep digging your hole because who cares? You're already messed up. It doesn't work. My overspending spiral didn't go as deep as it usually does. It still went deep. Approximately $80 that we had unable to. Part of it was for the ice storm prep. That was not anticipated at all whatsoever. I did deflect a little bit of it. I used my allowance money, leftover Christmas money. So of the camping supplies we bought, I only had to take about 20 from the miscellaneous fund instead of the full amount. However, I still wasn't happy about it. Okay. That was due, huh? Okay, we do have the budget. We are part of Amazon Prime. I knew Amazon Prime was in January. However, when I set up the budget, for some reason I thought that it had already been taken out. I thought it was being taken out of the credit card. And so when I did I'm writing everything down, we're setting up our budget for the remainder of this month, I assumed that the Amazon Prime membership had already been removed. It did not, which means the bill came through. I had to shuffle things around, but that's why I have the small savings fund, sink funds. So the money was in there, and we will be refilling that amount. All right, gotta spend money to make money. This is for the side hustle. In my area, we have a consignment that happens at the mall, pop-up consignment store. It's called the Upscale We Sale. I consigned with them last year, their last season one, the fall 2021, and I signed up to consign with them this season, which will be happening early February instead of mid-March. It ended up being 2 weeks earlier, so I've been kind of scrambling. Basically, the money that had to be spent, I spent $18 to be able to join the consignment team and consign with them. I spent money at the Dollar Tree for batteries because you have to make sure there are fresh batteries in all of the battery operated items. It's one of the expectations. I had to purchase juvenile hangers to put the clothes on because you have to put the clothes on wire hangers. They sell them packs of 25 for $4. And I had to get baggies, 2.5 gallon size bags, gallon size bags, quart size Ziploc bags, basically things to actually put stuff in that might be loose in order to sell them. Last season, I still have leftover clothespins. I have leftover twine for tying stuff together. I have leftover masking tape, and I have leftover cardstock. So that stuff I already have in my inventory resources, and that's how you're having to spend money to make money. Oh, and I ran out of ink on my printer, so I ended up buying. I have a Canon, so all of the colors are separate packs, and I ran out of yellow ink, so I had to purchase a box of yellow ink. I buy the individual colors so that I have them kind of stocked up. When I was reviewing, I only had 1 magenta left and 2 cayennes left, so I went ahead and bought 3 packs of ink, those 3 colors, because it doesn't make sense to buy your yellow ink and then when it comes and I'm actually printing out labels, I didn't want the magenta ink to run out and then not having it. So make money to spend money, and that also goes into the overspending spiral. Progress. The upscale we sell. I have been working on labeling everything. I have 40 books, 100 odd items of clothing, toys, some household furniture. I think I had about $500 in the inventory I'm going to be trying to sell. The way that we sell works is you pay $18, you can consign through them, you get 65% of whatever the sales you make. If you volunteer to work for them, you increase the amount of percentage you get back, and you get back your consigner thing. So I sign up to volunteer for four shifts. That's 12 hours, which means I will get the $18 back for the consignment fee, and I will get 70%, 75%. It's a higher amount back of whatever I do manage to sell. I don't know how the other consignments in the area work. I just found out last year about there being like 6 around in the area, so I don't know how different it is or how much they go off of the same playbook. It's definitely worth looking into. I don't really have the energy to be dealing with attempting to do a yard sale or trying to sell on Facebook Marketplace, but I do have stuff that we don't use. And this way it gives me a shot to try and make some money off of it, and then I just click a little box and anything that doesn't get sold gets donated, and either way hits out of my house and I might get a little bit of money. Alright, a temporary job. I do have a temporary job lined up that hopefully March, April will start coming through. I worked 2 days on this job last year, and it brings in a nice little bit of money. Hopefully it should be more than 2 days. From what we were told, the 2 days is just the time in order to get things done had been stretched out a lot more than usual, which means the second shift positions, which is the ones that I took, they didn't really need. They needed first shifters, they needed third shifters, but second shifters don't really get that much going on, and given the family dynamics, I'm a second shifter, which means I only work 2 days. Right, we changed our streaming service. I discontinued Netflix, so I have it officially is over on the 27th. I've been watching a documentary. I need to try and finish that up before I don't have access to Netflix anymore. And we switched over to Hulu. and a register book. This was laying around the house. I had already bought it. It was not a new purchase, even though technically it was a purchase. So Netflix, I touched on the argument, is pay $1 more. In the grand scheme of things, no, it's not a lot. But I've had Netflix since 2008, 2009. So it's really a question of, do I have Netflix because I like their catalog and because they're so awesome? Or do I have Netflix because I've had Netflix for over a decade? And so I chose to pay less and give Hulu a shot. We did take part in, they had a trial last year that we took part of where it was just like 99 cents a month for the full year. And we did enjoy it during that time when we had them. They did have some shows we were interested in. I'm kind of looking forward to that. Yes, we could have just completely cut the service. There are free streaming services. You can do imdb.com. You can do happykidstv.com. I mean, there's free stuff. So no, you do not need to purchase a streaming service. Or like, we're part of Amazon Prime, which includes a streaming service with it. So yes, we could have just completely cut it, but we do like having a little variety in our services, and I don't think we're quite ready for the step of completely removing it. I don't know why. First world problems. Budget every day. I was a lot more active in keeping track of my budget than I had been. And no, I didn't make it to every day, but it was every other day, once a week. It was staying on top of it. When you budget, it's not just setting your intentions and letting it be. You have to track it. You have to make sure. If you stop paying attention to your money's going to go running off and like a whole pack of stray cats. Part of that is I was born in the 80s. I like my paper copies. So I have a whole bunch of accounting ledger books. I bought them when I had other plans. And this is one of them. Just to open up to a blank page. It's a very standard setup. I have the date, the year, a description, account, payment, debit, and credit. I have tabs on the side. This month, next month, last month. This is so we can keep track of it. Currently, got February set up. It's January. And we have on the top the envelope, large sink fund, groceries, pet supplies, miscellaneous, gas for the car, small sink fund, emergency fund, wear and tear account, the credit card, and mid-range goals. So I've been tracking it. Check mark means it's done. I established them. I took an accounting class way long ago where accounts had different numbers. So they do have different numbers. Technically, the generalized one is 0. And so I have the account number. I have preschool deposits, counseling services, Netflix. It's all set up. Since I do still have things basically under control, I have February basically set up already. I know how much credit cards going to be. I know how much insurance is going to be. The gas for the house, the internet, the alarm. I have to update it because we don't have Netflix anymore. And then I have the individual envelopes. General envelope. And I have reminders at the bottom. So the general envelope, this I have in my Ing account. That's Capital One, but we had the accounts when they were Ing before it was taken over by Capital One, so we still call them the Ing accounts. So if I'm going to get toiletries, medical, any pills or prescriptions, clothing, or purchasing gifts, that's from the envelope. You got the large sink fund, annual vet, short-term disabilities, insurances, termite renewal, HVAC, property taxes. This is in our founder savings account. We used to be part in Edge Up funds. The way it worked is basically a round up to the nearest dollar, whatever you spent. So you spent $1.62 on a purchase, you would end up having 38 cents removed and put into a high fund account. I've discontinued that because it's going to be difficult to keep track of the budget every day if you have random pennies and cents being taken out. Groceries, which is for groceries. I did that because even though we only have groceries removed one time, groceries, $440 planned for the month of January. I don't want to take up 5 million lines of what exactly we do groceries in, as well as somehow recalling how much was put aside. So we have our groceries. And here's what I did from my spending spiral. I already had $200 left. There's only going to be one more shopping for January. So I took $80 to square the miscellaneous. Because the miscellaneous, that's where the spending spiral came from. I went to Dollar Tree to get supplies, as well as some other stuff that may or may not be needed. Not needed. I had to pay for the hangers. I went ahead and bought Little Caesars because we already have the spending. So basically, the money that was earmarked for groceries, I took $80 out and I put it into the miscellaneous category. These are not actually separate accounts. This was $80. But that cleared up the negatives. No, this isn't over yet, because in getting the hangers, I emailed one person saying I need 50 hangers. Are they available? Told them I was going to get them the next evening. The person didn't contact me until 4 or 5 nights later. I had already purchased the hangers from 2 separate sources. So I haven't reached back out to the person. I'm trying to debate to figure out if it's something where I should get those 50 extra hangers for $8 more that is not in the budget, or if I just should tell them you didn't respond to me fast enough. Alright, gas for the car. Sink fund, small sink fund, holidays, taxes, Amazon gaming system. So Amazon Prime was taken out, $127.33. That's how much Amazon Prime cost. How I reflected this in the main part is charged to the account, transferred from the other one. The charge, where it's been transferred from. So technically it happened both. And when you look at this page, you can be like, dude, you don't have it tracked on the side. I have the tentative, and the reason why I didn't put it all down is because I just have the rounded numbers. Utilities, I believe the bill is available. I need to check to see how much it actually was, but they won't actually take it out until the last day of the month. So this is the estimate. If it's a different amount, I'm going to put the different amount here. So internet, I just rounded up to 70. It's actually $69.94. That will actually impact the amount. So that's why we have this little numbers going on here. And I update it. So instead of account, it's the planned debit and the actual debit to try and reflect when it happens. It's a mess. I still need to work on it. This is the first month of trying to get back into budgeting, and if it takes a few months to get your budgets in the clear, well, it's okay. It's a work in progress. I've got room to grow, and growing will happen. So that is my most recent update. I will update again in approximately 2 weeks, maybe earlier, about the budgeting. So budgeting doesn't just occur when I make these videos. It's been occurring all along, and I just do a quick little recap on it all for these videos. I hope that in watching my accountability for financial responsibility for our household, maybe you'll get some ideas on how to take care of your household funds. If you have any suggestions or questions, please drop them in the comments. And since I do want to monetize this channel, please go ahead and subscribe and hit, notifications if you really, really want to watch them again. And I hope to hear any thoughts, opinions, or comments, constructive and positive preferred. And have a good day. Thank you.